Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, so that means it's Borrasca Monday. A new episode was released this morning. I am going to listen to it, and then I'm going to review it, and then give theories and all that stuff. And then at the end of the video, I am going to be putting out what my schedule will be like for this week. It's going to be a little bit different than what I had originally stated all those weeks ago. But we're gonna get into some Riverdale stuff this week. I'm very excited. So here is Borrasca Episode 3, Partial Remains. So I just finished listening to it and I really enjoyed this episode a lot. It had a lot of Cole, so that was like helpful, but it gave us a lot of information to how I think Sam got to where we first met him, which is in rehab. So let's go through my notes and then we're gonna go through some things. So as always, at the top, we're in therapy. And we find out that it was the year 2003 when Whitney went missing. She was 16 years old. That's when Sam was 12. And the report came back like after the investigation that she left on her own free will. She hitchhiked it back to Missouri, like to St. Louis, and there was maybe foul play because, as Leah, the probie says, like, you know, the probation officer says that there were her remains found, and Sam is quick to say partial remains if they were hers. So they found remains. They don't know whose they were. They just assumed that it was Whitney's. So we find out that it was also a Wednesday. So it was Wednesday, January 21st when she went missing. And Leah asks, what happened next? And he goes, nothing, until 5 years later. So then we get to see Sam at 17, which is interesting because in last week's episode, we find out that something happened when he was 17. So we're like, whoa, we're in it now. 17-year-old Sam works for Jimmy Prescott at the Prescott Deli, which is managed by this woman named Mira Daly. So remember last week, I was like, Jimmy Prescott cult, bad idea. I'm still running with it because now that Sam is working for him, I'm like, dude, what's up with that? So you know Mira went to Memphis on a trip. And now he's back. Now she's back. And, you know, Jimmy wants to talk to her. We don't find out what Jimmy wanted to talk to her about because they send Sam home early. Then he goes and meets up with his friends. There's another girl that works for the store. Her name is Emmeline, I think is how they are saying it. On Sundays, Emmeline works like the later shift and Sam stays and like helps her stock because he likes her. So he wants to like flirt with her and like get to know her and stuff like that. But it's also because, you know, he actually does want to help her. So after he leaves the store, he goes and meets up with his friends. We hear about Kimber and Kyle. They're there. We hear them as 17-year-olds and they are finally dating. Called it last week, y'all. Just saying. There was a Borrasca party the week before this, and that's when Phoebe went missing. I don't know, I think that's when Pete Whitaker went missing, which is who Whitney was dating. But the one before that is when Phoebe went missing. Phoebe is the girl who was bullying Kimber. Yep, it's all clicking now. There we go. So Kimber went to one of these Borrasca parties, we find out, without Sam and Kyle. And we hear about, from Phil Saunders, which is another friend of theirs, that there's women in white that come out of the woods and point to like certain people, and those people have to stay and everyone else has to leave. And they're like, do these people come back? And they're like, yeah, but they don't talk about it. We hear about senior ditch day and how it's the day after this and Sam isn't allowed to ditch, so Kyle and Kimber are going to school with them. which is nice, friends. I went to my I didn't go to school on my senior ditch day. It was the day after prom, and we just laid in bed and ate pancakes. It was great. We find out that Phil Saunders dated Kimber before she dated Kyle. Sounds like that Kimber dated a few guys before Kyle actually had the courage to tell her. We hear that Kimber's mom does not like Kyle at all. Kimber's mom liked Phil when they were dating, but does not like Kyle. And we don't know why. And Kyle doesn't know why. Kimber doesn't know why. It's very weird. Then we get back to Sam's house and we hear from his mom and dad. They are going back and forth about senior ditch day and all this stuff. And Sam is like, I know, like, leave it alone. And they go, especially with everything that happened with Whitney leaving. And Sam's like, she didn't leave. Like, what? Like, Sam's dad is convinced that Whitney got up and left to go to an old boyfriend, which is what the report said. But Sam is like, no, she went missing. She's dead, probably. We all know that. She's probably dead. Her remains are probably still in this town. He goes in a shallow grave or in a building. Like, they don't know. So this is what I think is happening before they find the partial remains. So now we're on senior ditch day, and we hear Sam and Kyle getting high in what sounds like a car, which happens, like, it's on their lunch, and they don't know where Kimber is, but Kimber went home because her mom needed her, allegedly. And they hear a scream, and that's apparently twice in 1 month that they heard a scream, so that means there's gonna be another Borrasca party, which never happens. It's hardly twice in 1 month, it's usually once a month. So they leave, they ditch school the rest of the day, they took attendance, and they were like, we're out. So he goes to work because Emmeline is supposed to be there. And so he goes early to go help her. And she goes, actually, since you're here, can I head out early so I can go get ready for tonight? There's a Borrasca party tonight. Did you hear the scream? He's like, yeah. And she says, oh, you should come. And he's like, And she goes, no, then maybe we can, like, hang out. And teenager speak for hang out is, we're gonna hook up. Like, come on. And I'm like, yes, Sam, get it. So he decides that he's gonna go. And she warns him before he leaves. She goes, Mira's in a weird mood. Like, tread carefully. So she leaves, and then you hear Mira, like, weeping in the back. And he's like, don't do it. Like, he wants to be a good guy, but at the same time, he's like, I really don't care. But he decides to go back there. He talks to her, and he finds out a lot about her life that I don't think he really wanted to know. It's about, like, the store failing, and she's afraid she's gonna get fired. Then he finds out that she can't get pregnant. Like, her and her husband have been trying for months and months and months, and she just starts weeping. So he calls her husband and is like, look, something's happening. And he goes, I'll be right there. He goes in the back and starts yelling at her. I'm like, girl, get out of there. But then he, like, comes back and apologizes. I think he's just frustrated. And we find out that Mira is a McCaskey, which we hear about her 4 dead uncles, and it's from the mines. And Sam's like, I've never heard this before. And I'm like, yes, you did, Sam. Last week or all those years ago when Joan Prescott was talking, they talked about the mines getting blown up, and, you know, 4 kids died. Those are her uncles. They resolve it. The 2 of them are like, Sam, you go home. We got the rest of the day. And he's like, all right, cool. So he goes and calls Kyle, and Kyle's outside Kimber's house, and he's like, I'm gonna come pick you up. We have plans tonight. This was one of my favorite parts, was the 3 of them, like, going back and forth about plans and all this stuff. And Kyle and Sam have that best friend rivalry thing going on about, like, who can get the most girls, who's hotter, who's better in bed, all this stuff. And we find out through Kimber that Kyle is still a virgin, which I peed. It was so funny. I was laughing so hard. So Sam was just going to go to the Borrasca party with Kyle. Did not want Kimber going because they're afraid that she's going to get taken, which I don't blame them. Like, Kimber's like, you know, that it's still a sexist thing. And I'm like, true, girl. True. Like, be careful, you know? So they decide that all three of them are going to go. He's going to spend time with Emmeline. Then the two of them are going to meet him there and all that stuff. And because Kimber has to babysit. So then Kimber leaves, goes back inside the house. Kyle and Sam are in the car, and Kyle's like, so we're really going to do this? We're going to go to a Borrasca party, like we're going to go to Amber Cott. And he goes, yeah. And Kyle goes, do you think we're going to regret it? And then we cut back to adult Sam. Now, I didn't mention this before, but this one was so interesting to listen to because Cole plays 17-year-old Sam and then adult Sam. And it's fascinating to hear him change his voice because when he's an adult and he's all graspy and growly and you're like, ugh, dude, like, what's up with that? And then he's 17-year-old Sam. I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, he sounds like Jughead. Like he's using, like, he literally changed his voice. And I was like, that is such good voice acting. We see that at this age is when Sam started getting into drugs because he is constantly asking about weed and they won't give it to him because he's the sheriff's son. They think that he's gonna, I think that's what it is. I think he's that sheriff's son that wants to be rebellious because he's the sheriff's son. So we get back to the, probation therapist talker person. Leah. Her name is Leah. Let's actually call her by her name. So we get back to adult Sam with Leah. And she goes, well, did you regret it? And he goes, I have a conflict next week with our session next week. And I'm just like, dude, answer the damn question. And he, like, goes off on her in, like, a way that I think he needed to go off. He's, like, saying, you feel good about yourself, getting me to talk, getting me to open up. You can go home and get in a bath and drink some wine and feel accomplished. He goes, but I don't. This doesn't affect me the way it's affecting you. So she says, but we're just getting in, like, we're just getting into Whitney's story. And he goes, this isn't Whitney's story. It's somebody else's. So I'm like, bitch, what is happening? Like, whose story is it? I thought we were just finding out about Whitney the whole time. So this, like, threw, like, a really cool, like, curveball. So now we're back at his apartment with his roommate, Eric. And, they're talking back and forth about the therapy session or his session and everything. And Sam is like, I'm almost out of dope. And Eric's like, maybe that's a good thing. Like, maybe we're not going to get you anymore because I'm not going to help you kill yourself. Like, are you going to keep doing this until you kill yourself? And he goes, that's the plan. So, like, Sam wants to die. And I don't know. And, like, I know why, because his life was awful. And he went through so many traumatic events. And then we're going to hear more about, like, a very big traumatic event next week. Eric is like, dude, maybe now is the time. Like, let's get you clean. And he's like, I don't want to be clean. And he's like, why? And he goes, because I don't want the nightmares. And he goes, you still have the nightmares. You've had the nightmares for 8 months. He goes, yeah, but I don't remember them. So when he's high, he doesn't remember the nightmares. He still has them. Then we hear about, he wants to put him in rehab or therapy, like, to talk about these nightmares, like, to get him help. Eric is such a good guy. He really wants to get him help. And Sam is just like, nope, 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 nope. Then we find out the girl came back again in the morning. And Eric told her that Sam wasn't home because he didn't want her seeing him passed out on his bed with a needle in his foot. So, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but when you're addicted to heroin, a lot of them put inject it into their toes, like into the veins in their toes, because it's easier to hide those scars. And Eric is adamant. He goes, I'm not helping you kill yourself. And he goes, I don't need your help. Like, I could do it myself. And so then Eric gives him the biggest ultimatum of all. He goes, I'm not going to give you my piss anymore. And Sam flips. He goes, what do you mean? It goes on and on about it. And he goes, I need you. I need that. He goes, no. He goes, I'm not going to help you lie anymore. He goes, fine. He goes, I'll get clean. He goes, but I need time, because if I stop cold turkey, I'm going to die. Which is true. If at his point of addiction that I can assume if he stopped, he would go through, his body would go through such a shock that he will like die instantly, no doubt. So that means Sam really doesn't want to die, because he knows that he could easily die that way. But I think he enjoys the high. He enjoys the feeling and all that stuff. So he goes, but I need time. And he goes, fine, I'll give you time. Like, that's fair. And he goes, a year. And Eric's like, absolutely not. It's not gonna be a year. He goes, fine, less than a year. And that's where the episode ends. So this episode, like, it went by really quick, but the episode was really good. I really did enjoy it. So theories, next week. I think next week we're gonna hear the Borrasca party that they go to. We're gonna find out more about Emmeline and her relationship with Sam. And I think she's gonna be the one that goes missing. Because I'm just like, probably. Because Sam's life is a living hell. Or they'll find, because that's like the other event that happens, because we know something else happens to Sam at 17. So I don't know. Like, this was like a great like introduction into 17-year-old Sam. Like, we got 2 episodes of 12-year-old, and now we're gonna get some like 17-year-old, because we found out, we know Winnie's gone. It's just a matter now of what's gonna happen next. All right, so let's talk about this week. So today is Monday, so Borrasca is gonna go up, as every Monday will be. Tomorrow, so it's usually supposed to be Theory Tuesdays, but I think I put all my season 5 theories in one video because we don't have that much information right now. And I think I'm still in the middle of rewatching season 4 right now, so I really want to piece everything together. I have some thoughts, but I will share that in another video. Then there was new episodes Wednesdays, so we were celebrating like what would be a new episode of Riverdale. So that's where I'm gonna have like favorites and rankings. So this week, I think I'm gonna rank season 1 episodes from my least favorite to my favorite. So the next like few ones will be of that. So I'll do season 1, season 2, season 3, and season 4. Season 2 and season 3 will be tough because there are 23 episodes. So it's gonna be hard. But I think I can get it. I think I could do it. And then Throwback Thursdays and reviews. This week I'm gonna review the pilot. I'm gonna watch the pilot over. I've watched the pilot I think 20 times now. So this will be like my 21st time, which is really interesting. So to be able to watch the same episode, I think I could quote the episode at this point. This Thursday I'm gonna review the pilot, which is so fun. I'm so excited to finally get into some Riverdale content. So with that, I want to make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment to my channel. It's really helpful for you guys to give me some ideas on what you want to see. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter. All that stuff will be down below and on the last page. And finally, don't forget to listen to and subscribe to Borrasca on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to